Hey, what is up, my people? Pastor Bill here. Ever felt like you've done exactly what God called you to do and still ended up in the desert? Right? You stepped forward, you said yes, you followed the path, and then the door closed. The money ran out, the diagnosis came, the relationship fell apart. And somewhere in the silence, you asked a question that you were almost afraid to say out loud. God, where are you? Are you even here with me right now? Now, this isn't a modern question, okay? This is ancient. And God answered it in a wilderness called Rephidim. In Exodus chapter 17, the Israelites had been following God through the desert. They'd seen plagues. They'd walked through the Red Sea on dry ground, miracle after miracle. And now they're without water. They're in the desert. But instead of going to God in prayer about it, they just complained to each other. In fact, they accused Moses of trying to kill them. Sound familiar? You know, if we're honest with ourselves, we have to admit we often do the same thing. We measure God's faithfulness by the dryness of a single moment, forgetting every miracle he's done for us in the past. And I love what God does next. He doesn't respond with judgment, but with grace. He tells Moses this. He says, take your staff, the one you struck the Nile with, turning it to blood, and strike the rock. Yeah, the same staff, the same hand, the same God. And when Moses did, water came gushing out of the rock. Now, that wasn't just hydration for the people. That was a sermon preached in liquid form. And the message? Nothing about your situation is outside my reach. God is for you. Then on the heels of that miracle comes an attack. A group of people called the Amalekites ambushed Israel from behind, hitting the weakest, the slowest, the most vulnerable, which is where the enemy usually strikes. He'll strike at your weakest point, whatever that is. That's where he comes in. So Joshua went down to the valley to engage them, but Moses went up to the hill, arms raised, staff lifted, praying. Okay. And something incredible happened. Exodus 17 tells us that as long as Moses held up the staff, Israel had the advantage. When he dropped his hands, Amalek gained the advantage. The battle wasn't decided in the valley, it was decided on the hill. Listen, prayer isn't a support to the work, prayer is the work. But over time, as the battle raged on, Moses' arms got heavy. He couldn't hold them up alone. So Aaron, his brother, and Hur, another man, stood beside him, one on each side, holding his arms up until sunset, together, until the victory came. Then after the battle, Moses built an altar and named it Yahweh Nissi, which means the Lord is my banner. Now, in ancient warfare, a banner was what soldiers fought toward when the smoke got so thick that they couldn't see. You just looked for the banner. You rallied around the banner. Moses looked back at everything that God had done, everything that had happened, the water, the battle, the victory. And he said this, he declared, God is our banner. He's the reason we're still standing. Now, here is the rest of the story. And I think this changes everything. The Apostle Paul writes about this exact moment, the rock, the staff, the water. And here's what he says in 1 Corinthians 10, that rock was Christ. Moses had to strike the rock to release the water. Centuries later, on a hill called Golgotha, the full weight of judgment fell on the Son of God. Struck, broken, poured out so that rivers of living water could flow to a thirsty world. And those arms Moses raised in prayer, they point to Jesus, arms stretched wide on a cross, winning in the heavens what would be decided in the valley below, on this world. Yahweh Nissi, the Lord is your banner. Jesus is your banner. His name, that banner, is Jesus. So let me give you 3 takeaways I see in Exodus chapter 17 for you this very week. Number 1, first of all, remember your calling. Write down what God has already done in your life. You will need it the next time that dry season comes around. Secondly, go to the hill before you go to the valley. Make prayer your first resort, not your last. And if your arms are tired, which they can easily be, find your Aaron and Hur. Find those who can hold up your arms in support, because you're never meant to hold them up alone. Thirdly is let Jesus be your banner. Because when the smoke gets thick and you can't see clearly, you want to look for him. Rally around him. And in all of it, remember this: God is for you. He's fighting for you. So don't test him, trust him. And we'll see you the next time. And why not join us at Centerpoint for worship and encouragement this weekend? It all starts this Sunday at 10 a.m. You can join us on site at our campus in beautiful South Tacoma, or if you're out of town, join us online at our Centerpoint Facebook page. Either way, it'll be a great time together. See you then.